So, this house behind me is your city council member who has voted for $500,000 to bring police officers from out of state into this community who do not understand you, do not understand the community or the plight of what we're dealing with, and who do not give a good goddamn about Calvin Horton, George Floyd, or our homeless population problem. But yet, $500,000 goes to bring in out-of-state cops. With that $500,000, how many homeless could we feed? How many homeless children could we take off the street? How many homeless families could we give homes to? That is the problem with this budget. That is why we are outside, council member, to discuss why funds are being allocated against our voting residents. Listen! Funds are being allocated in the wrong direction time and time again. And we as voters are tired. We as voters are tired of coming out to your homes to demand what should be done with our dollars. So listen, Ms. Cano, our dollars we demand be allocated back into the community and not to police officers from out of state who don't give a good goddamn about our community. Now, before I leave, let me remind you one thing, Ms. Cano. We've already run one of your council members out of their seat. And let it be known, ma'am, we will run you out too. Thank you.
Who else?
Come on, I say! Yeah!
If Calvin don't get it! If Calvin don't get it! If Calvin don't get it! If George don't get it! If George don't get it! If George don't get it! If Jamar don't get it! If Jamar don't get it! If Jamar don't get it! I'm just a little confused at the "all are welcome here" sign on the front of her house, because Calvin wasn't welcome, Jamar Clark wasn't welcome, Thurman Belvins wasn't welcome. Should I go on? That's hypocrisy at its finest. Mike Freeman had the same sign in his front yard. I just want to say, about a year ago, I spent some meetings in Richfield City Council after Brian Quinones was murdered. We were there every week. We begged for them to give us justice and take his murders off the street. They wouldn't say one word to us. Every single week we were there. Not one word was said to us. Brian's 13-year-old son talked about his murder, and they looked at him and said nothing. City council members do not do their jobs, and we need people in their positions of power who will do their jobs. We need more black women running for city council. We don't just need to vote and get them out. We need to run. We need to replace them. That's all I have to say.
All right, who else? I know we got people from different communities here. We want to hear from you. What do you think of this budget? We're not going to limit you to 90 seconds. I know y'all got something to say. Come on.
Talking about how people wake up every day with millions of dollars at their disposal and they choose to spend it on one fucking thing. Talk about that. Woo!
How's it going? We do have different communities here. I want to speak out for the restaurant industry, which will be hurting for the next month and possibly the next couple of months, and people who will never open up again. The city has money to fund the police, but does not help the communities that are hurting. They choose police over the industries that pay taxes, industries that create jobs. And yet we have to come out here and say, you can give the police $500,000, but how many grants? How many grants have gone out? How many places of color, people of color have gotten those grants? It's ridiculous how we have so much money to suppress the public, but not to help it. We'll see. We'll see how many of these Light Street businesses will make it through this winter.
Thank you. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
This budget that is for the city, it's way more than $500,000, right? It's almost $180 million. Almost half of that is for the police. You hear that? Half of the city budget. Do the police make us feel safe? No. Is anybody here, is there any single person here that a police officer made you feel safe?
Fuck no.
What makes you feel safe?
Community!
Yeah. You know what I think, what we say a lot at George Floyd Square? Justice brings safety, right? Investment in community brings safety. Getting rid of the things that drive people to commit crimes of desperation. You think people like committing crimes? You think it's fun to be in a situation where your only way to survive is to steal? That feels terrible. Nobody wants to do that. It's not cool. It makes me so upset to see over and over what I hear in this city is white fear, right? I hear people that are privileged and afraid demanding police on every corner, like that'll make them safe, that'll make their property safe, right? That doesn't help people. I would like to see that money invested in jobs, in homes, maybe even creating positions within neighborhoods. You know, a lot of people have been doing this already, right? During the uprising, we made block chats, we looked out for each other. You called when something was happening. I do that to this day for my neighbors. But the reality is people don't have time, they got shit going on, we gotta sleep. What if the city put that money in the hands of the neighborhood so we could come out for each other? Right? So it's not just my time. It's like the city is paying me to look out for my neighbors. What? How great would that be? But not repeating what the police do. I don't want to come out for my neighbor with a gun. No. I want to come out for my neighbor with my neighbors. I want to come out and talk to people, figure out what happened. How can we help this person that is experiencing a difficult situation? That's how you have to view it. The person committing the crime, the criminal, they're not a criminal, they're a victim. They need help. They shouldn't be thrown away. They're not garbage. I want all of that police budget gone. A lot of us do. I know it can't happen all at once. It's both and, right? It's take money out of that budget, put it towards mental health. It's take money out of that budget, put it towards neighborhood programs, jobs, housing. I know it can't happen all at once. None of us think that. It was silly, it was stupid to say we're abolishing this now with no plan. You know what that did? That made that police angry. That extra $500,000, right? It's a drop in the bucket, but it's extortion. The police are saying, there's crime rates, it's going up, this is the only solution, you better give us money or we won't do our jobs.
They're not doing their jobs either way.
Right, they're not doing their jobs either way, it's not benefiting anyone. But they call that blue flu, right? They say, oh, you don't want me? Now see what it is, right? Because we don't have something in place. You can't blame people for not being ready to respond when there's nothing else there. But we gotta be creative. We gotta listen to each other. We gotta listen to our communities and what that safety looks like. Because for me, it's my neighbors looking out for me. It's not the police. The police have never made me feel safe. That's all I got.
And when you think about $500,000, they ain't doing much with it. That's symbolic. That's to let you know we can still do whatever the hell we want to do. And this city council will bend when we ask them to. They will acquiesce. They will give us money when we tell them that we need money.
How y'all doing, my beautiful people? Kings and queens, what's going on? I'm Cortez Rice, man. George Floyd was like an uncle to me, man, a mentor, man. He meant everything to me, man. Just as well as he meant everything to y'all, man. 500,000. And my uncle got killed over $20. You hear what I'm saying? Let's not talk about let's talk about this 500,000. As far as defunding the police, let's refund the community. You feel what I'm saying? If we're gonna defund them and take this 500,000, put it into youth organizations out here, put it into the activists, put it into the families that need it. Man, where people is burying their loved ones left and right. That 500,000 could have went to them. Yeah. Real talk. You know what I mean? There's families out here that's homeless. I'm about to be feeding 1,000 families. That 500,000 could have went to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we got to do better. We're gonna have to start this shit all the way over. From the mass incarceration, bringing our brothers and sisters home from prisons, putting them back into our kids' lives. We gotta change the system all the way around, man. All the way around, because what was going on before is not working for none of us. It don't matter what color race you are, it's not working for none of us. So yeah, man, 500,000, that need to go to our community, y'all. Real talk.
All right, we'll take one or two more. I know y'all got something to say, and y'all ain't nobody trying to wait for 6 hours on a budget hearing meeting, waiting for your name to get called, and then you got 90 seconds. And let me tell you what could happen. This is just the reality. This is the reality. You tell your story to them, city council, where does it go? Garbage. Who knows? Legally, they have to take testimonies from people. Legally, they have to. They're not doing that out of their heart. They're doing that because it's part of their job. But the part of their job that's accountability, they ain't even stepping up to that. They're not stepping up to that at all. What would you say at a budget hearing if you had more than 90 seconds? Go ahead.
Come on. Every voice counts. This is it. This is it. Every voice counts.
This is going to be a long time before another march comes up.
Hey, everybody. When I say Calvin, you say Horton. Calvin. Horton. Calvin. Horton. Calvin. Horton. Calvin. Horton. So someone said something earlier that stuck to me. John Ripple spent less time in jail than Amina McCaskill. That's messed up. John Ripple coming in from Wisconsin to open up a pawn shop on Lake Street just to murder Calvin Horton. That's some colonizer shit. Bob Kroll coming in from Hugo just to brutalize black and brown bodies. That's some colonizer shit. And now they approved $500,000 to have more police come in from out of state. That's some colonizer shit. These police are not beholden to the community. Can you just imagine if I do something wrong and I'm the one that gets to decide whether I'm guilty or not, and I get to decide my punishment? That's messed up. Community control of the police, that's what we need. That's it. Calvin Horton, say his name. Calvin Horton. Say his name. Calvin Horton. When I say George, you say Floyd. George. Floyd. George. Floyd. Thank you.
I know I said one more last time, but there's probably somebody that was like, damn, I wish I should have stepped up to the mic and said something. So one more. What would you say at a budget hearing? You got a laundress house in the back here. Tell it.
Hey, y'all. Leave you in a chant real quick. No cops. No KKK, no racist USA. No cops. No KKK, no racist USA. No cops. No KKK, no racist USA. No cops. I'm here with a message. I feel like, you know, we're here to take the city council to account for $500,000 that was awarded to the police to deal with the problem of violence in our communities. I listened to that meeting the other day. Right? I took a little bit of time off work and was listening. And what I noticed were a lot of fearful, white, reactionary folks. Oftentimes, you know, South Minneapolis, like maybe around Southwest in that area, and feeling genuinely unsafe in their communities. Like, let's sit with that for a moment, right? Like, folks that perhaps this summer haven't experienced any discomfort whatsoever. In their whole lives. That's the folks that we're dealing with right now. And I'm looking at this crowd right now and I'm thinking, like, what can we do, right? Not wait for city council to do something about it, but what can we do? Can we organize in our own blocks where we sit at? Can we set up cop watch, and, you know, to replace the need for cops in our communities? Can we, you know, reach out, like, the George Floyd Square is a wonderful place. It's a place where it's an autonomous zone, cops are not welcome there. And that's a community that's trying to deal with the problem of violence in the community, right? Oftentimes we defer to the police to deal with violence in our own communities. We've lived in that system for as long as I've been alive. And we gotta deal with that, right? We gotta offer real alternatives to these reactionary folks and say, you know what? This is what we're going to replace, right? If we say abolish the police, right, we have to have a persuasive argument that says, you know what? This is what we're going to replace the police with, right? It starts with us. That's my only message tonight. I'm saying I want to put some control and put some obligation on y'all to actually do something about it in your communities instead of come to protest and just talk about it, right? Y'all can do this, right? I believe in y'all, so let's keep it going. No cops, no KKK, no racist USA.
No education on what comes after 12. What comes after 11. All right. One more, we're gonna start singing as this truck turns around. What would you say in the budget hearing? Where would you want that $179 million to go? Where else? Step up.
I'd like to say to you, Minneapolis City Council, that you have an opportunity to set the right message for the entire country and the world. We have their attention. This latest revolution started here. We can be a leader. Right now we're not. We're seeing it in other cities in this country, but not here. And we started this. We should be leading this.
All right, let's turn this truck around. And I do want to say, when we talk about black females taking leadership, or just folks of color stepping up, Nikema said this when we were outside of Bender's house. And Nikema said, if you're white and you feel you can run for city council, lean into that. And if you think somebody of color can do an equal, or maybe a little bit of a better job, get that person and start helping them out. Put them in the forefront. It's time for white folks to start helping to push the boulder up the hill, not direct where it goes. Help us push this up this hill. We've had a long time in this state to really marinate on the racial disparity in law enforcement, employment, and education. And it's time for you to maybe start helping pushing this boulder uphill. So help out with that. And you see Robin Wansley is running. That's part of it. That's part of the puzzle. But as my brother said earlier, we may not need city council. We actually don't need city council. It's gonna be up to y'all to really start taking actual action in your neighborhoods. And I guess while we're here, we have a little bit of time. One thing I'll explain that we're doing with the crew that I roll with is we're gonna start implementing Cop Watch. And how do we do that? When we were on the highway, what was the first thing the cops did? For all y'all that were there, what was the first thing they did? They got rid of the press. They said, get that press out of here. And then they started shining lights up at 94 apartments to block out earphones. And folks said, oh, that's wild, man. They're trying to like blind them. And then somebody said, no, they're trying to blind them from seeing what they're about to do to us.
That's right.
And if you knew the hairline trigger that we actually sat upon, and it wasn't just 646, there was a lot of folks there.
Yeah.
The hairline trigger that we were standing on, that sheriff's department was going to go rogue on us. It was not going to be the way it was supposed to be. There was a phone call made to the head of the sheriff's department to say, give these people citations, let them walk. You got a mess on your hands. You got the world watching. What would happen if there were 5 people in your neighborhood, 5 folks in your neighborhood that you knew you could trust, that would show up night, rain, shine, wherever, and they had a GoPro and they could live stream right away? They could start filming the cops right then and there. The reason why Minnesota has prided itself on passivity and tacit complicity with murderous cops is because it hasn't been filmed. And that's fucked up and sad, but that's the damn truth. As black folks in this crowd, you already know what it is. We know what it is. I don't even see the film to know what it is. However, when the community starts filming, they start getting scared. And if you're at Bryant Square Park and you saw 12, you saw the pigs roll up, and the second that everybody came out and started filming, they fell back. And there was a class disparity there too. Everybody from the apartments poured out. You see a whole lot of folks coming out of their homes. But if you're a homeowner, you can come out and help too. You can risk that check. You can risk your privilege. You can risk your power and rent. You can pull up. You can actually pull up and help out. So the effort that we're going to make is to buy 5 GoPros for each neighborhood, starting with the square and then going to the north side. And just telling folks that they can do that. This is an opportunity. We can do that. And it shouldn't come to that, but that's part of it. That's part of the Lord. That's part of it. And the part that we're here right now addressing is the Lungra Lion-Ass Canoe. This part has to stop. This cannot happen anymore. This cannot happen anymore. You cannot have a black man killed on your watch just because it wasn't filmed. You don't show the Popular Park and demand justice.
That's right.
Jeremiah Ellison, I know a lot of people came for him, and it's all good. Jeremiah Ellison could have showed up to the 5th anniversary of Jamar Clark.
Listen!
I don't think anybody here is getting paid to be here.
No?
Ain't nobody getting paid to be here. If it was your job to stand up for your city, you look around, I'll tell you what, the reason why I'm here, and I can only speak personally, is because y'all are here. And there are absolute leaders. There are leaders, straight leaders in this fight. And the more that you align yourself with them, listen to them, the more that we're going to get this thing pushed forward. And if you thought City Council was going to do it, start redirecting your attention elsewhere. Come to the square at 7 p.m. or on a Zoom meeting. Listen up to what they got to say. Approach your neighborhood association. Listen to what they got to say. Really get involved. This may be one of the last marches that we do for a little bit of time because of the restrictions. And so what we're going to do, we're going to get behind the truck. We're going to march on back, stay safe, and we're going to keep our eyes out, not in. And we're going to march safe back to Cadillac Lawn and say a few words there and take a moment of silence for our brother Calvin.
Listen!
Told me at Muller Park, and it hit her. And when you hear Kobe's mother speak, you know that she speaks with the whole chest, whole spirit. She says it with the chest. And it hit her at a certain point, and she said, it just gets me sometimes that nobody says my son's name. Ashley Quinones told me this a long time ago and said, we're doing the work that the dead can't. And you're out here doing the work that the others can't. And you hold space at the square where our other black brothers and sisters and folks that have been murdered by the cops can't. You're doing the work of your ancestors. You're doing the work of your great-grandmothers and grandfathers. You're doing the work of your parents. You're doing the work that you were born to do. And it kills me. It kills me to come. It was months ago when we came to this, and I didn't know exactly what it was about. But it showed me exactly what City Council was about, what the leadership, the elected leadership in this city is. And when we march for Calvin, and you hear the story of Calvin, and you go to Alondra Cano's house, and she doesn't come out. And then she shows up on a Zoom meeting, look like she's kidnapped in the attic, acting like she's the fucking victim. You gotta be some type of person to really act like the victim in a situation like this. This brother's mama came all the way down from the South. Came all the way from the South up here to speak on his behalf. The entire family came. And it's up to us to carry the name of Calvin Horton, to carry the promises that people have not kept, to carry the truth that has been lied upon, to carry the names of all our community members that have been stolen. And so for right now, we're gonna say his name 4 times and then hold a moment of silence, and it's so loud that his mother's gonna hear it all the way down in Alabama or Arkansas. I forget which one, but it started with an A. We're gonna say his name 4 times, and then we're gonna have a moment of silence for Brother Calvin. Because this right here shouldn't be happening. Mayan Burrell shouldn't be behind bars, and John Ripple shouldn't be walking. Amina McCaskill shouldn't be asking for money, and the MPD shouldn't be getting $500,000. You see how it works now. You see how it works. So here we go. Calvin Horton. Say his name!